Hi, I'm Bob Gray. We're here at the United Methodist Church in Sturgeon Bay on Michigan Street. It's Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month of January, and that means something very important. We're with Ken Betcher. Ken, what does that mean?
Well, for a long time it has meant that it's Lumberjack Supper night. And so we are here today to carry on a long tradition. 77th serving, we believe, of the Lumberjack Supper began back in 1935. And so as well as serving what we think is a great meal, we are also carrying on a great tradition.
I know you weren't here in probably 1935, but who was? Do you know? And who got this whole thing started?
Well, you know, the tradition is that it started with a gentleman called, his name was Cheeseman. And back in the 30s and the 40s, a lot of the men from Sturgeon Bay worked on the Great Lakes on ships. And so, January, February, probably already December that day, they were all home and men had to find ways to have fun and get together. And so Mr. Cheeseman got churchmen together and they did a lunch. And the lunch evolved into a church supper where again, a lot of men participated. In fact, one of the early cooks for the Lumberjack Supper was a gentleman who cooked in a ship, or on a ship in the Great Lakes. Okay. And so he took over at least the early cooking responsibility.
How many people do you have working at this event?
I don't even know, but
lots and lots and lots.
I don't stop to count, but we have 10 teams in the dining room of probably 5 people each, so that's 50 people. We probably have 8 in the kitchen serving the food, putting it out. We have a coffee team in the back room here and a pot washing team, and we have a dishwashing team, and we have a pie team, and we're looking at probably 70 to 80 people.
And how many people come to this event? You've got a lot here, right?
We have had as many as 825 that we have fed about 4 years or so ago, and probably the low is about 700 typically.
That's a low, huh?
That's the low in recent years. But I was looking at some files just in the past week, prepping some information, and now I'm going to have trouble quoting which year, but say back in 1950, and this is in the old church, they served like 598 people, and that had to be quite an operation to run that many people through the old church building.
I have not been through that church, but I know it's a lot smaller than this one.
Yes, and in fact, the Lumberjack Supper has part of its history is that because the men started this Lumberjack Supper and only had the back of the church sanctuary, you might say, to serve it in, which was their fellowship hall, they decided to build a basement under the old First Methodist Church. And so literally 100 men were rounded up to, with pick and shovel, dig out the basement under the old First Church to create a fellowship hall space that then they moved the Lumberjack Supper into.
Wow.
And that was back in 1949 they did that. And so right after that, this number of 598 I just quoted was like in 1950 or 51. So it enabled them to serve a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that would even be a lot here. But we have the ability to seat 200 people at one time. And so we can do 3 to 4 servings, which gets us up into that 700 level.
Yeah, and I noticed that it's always done family style. And so you get the people to come in and sit down at all the tables. And it seems like it takes a little bit at first. You get one table going and then the next and then the next until you've got all 10 tables going. And boy, there's really some efficient service there.
Well, we try to be efficient. It's important. And we found out, and with your help, because you're one of the team that brings people in, although technically we start at 4:30, we have people waiting in the church sanctuary from about 3:30 on to be served. And so we have decided to take them early and to get it going, which then saves us that drag or that bulge that we have later on in the evening. So last few years we've been quite efficient at getting people in fairly promptly.
Yeah, it seems like it's gone faster in the last couple of years.
Just by a 10-minute head start, it just reduces the bubble. It takes it out of there, and it's really nice.
We're moving up in time a little bit now. We have Mel Hendricks with us. Mel was the former minister, and you came after Ken Betcher, right?
That's right.
I like your outfit. I think that is very distinguished.
Well, I figure that we need to have a little class around this place, so I'm trying to add whatever I can to that. But
So you're kind of the maitre d'. That's not a dentist in the background, by the
I
way.
was wondering about that.
Well,
Say add some class to the place.
yes. Ouch, boy, I can feel that already. Now, Mel, you're pretty much responsible for seating people at all these tables around here. How do you manage to do all that?
Well, I work cooperatively with Joe Mitchell. He's at the table where the folks come in, and we have a system of hand signals that basically are how many places there are available at a table. And I give him that signal of how many people he can send down to me, and then he simply asks the people to go where I am so that we can get them seated at the right table.
And most of them follow his directions, or do they?
Yes, unless, of course, they find someone that they know in the meantime, and then...
Okay. Boy, that's going to blow us away, I think.
Yeah, I say we need some class around here.
Yes. We're talking now to Josh Van Lieshout. And Josh, you have the very distinguished honor of being in charge of the pies.
I do, and quite frankly, I don't know what I did to deserve that honor, but I think it's the best place to work for the Lumberjack dinner.
Well, that's great. There's a show on TV, of course, the Cake Boss. And have you ever considered yourself as the pie boss?
No, not really. I have to defer to Mark Holy for that. Unfortunately, Mark is out of town this week working, but he is the pie czar. And Mark left very specific and very detailed instructions as to how to conduct the pie room. So I'm really just a tool of Mark tonight.
I see. Can you give us some of that secret information?
Oh, well, gosh, it starts with this. If anybody sees a lemon meringue, you hold that aside for the workers at the end of the meal. Quality is important, but you should have to cut every pie into 8 pieces.
Okay.
Always 8, not 6, not 9.
Unless you're really, really hungry.
Unless you're really, or if I suppose maybe it's a small pie. But
Okay. Or it's a member of the staff.
that's right. Because there are losses.
Well, certainly.
Yeah, every now and then something falls onto the table.
A really good kind.
That's right. The kind of losses that add pounds.
Yes, but I'm sure none of them add any pounds. No.
It's hot back there, so you keep moving. You got to hustle. There's a lot of folks to serve, and nothing sticks around too long.
Sure. Well, I remember many years ago working, at this event, and the guys back there. You're right about the lemon meringue pies because they really protect those back there. I remember trying to get one time, and I just about got my arm cut off.
That's right. Well, that's exactly. In fact, I've already had a few folks ask, "Has anybody brought the lemon meringue yet?" And no, it's kind of the mystery pie maker. We don't know who makes it. It just shows up every year, and
that's good.
It is.
What kind of pies do you have there? Besides, of course, the famous lemon meringue.
Coveted. We have cherry, of course, apple, Dutch apple crumb, and then of course the pumpkin. And there's a few pecan pies that those will get out, but there's not too many of those. So.
Yeah. I figure if I can't get a lemon meringue, the pecan pies, those usually suffice.
It's a pretty close second.
Yeah. Don Heinrich is our next guest. Don, your official position is?
Well, I guess it's master cook. I don't know.
Wow. But, so everything pretty much goes through you, right?
In the kitchen, yeah. Meat and the potatoes and everything that's cooked is beans and cabbage, and it's all prepared. And I have the men of the church do basically most of the work. I'm just kind of overlooking now. And I guess the reason I'm overlooker now is because I'm the same age as the Lumberjack.
Okay.
But I was not here with the first one.
No?
I was born in Milwaukee.
Okay. So it was after 1935 sometime. We'll go that far.
34.
Oh, okay. All right.
I admit I'm 77.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
so he was here about at the beginning, but wasn't here.
yeah, I was born in Milwaukee, and I've been here now this is my 12th year of cooking in the kitchen.
Oh, that's great.
And I started out with Uncle Sam taught me how to cook. Well, I shouldn't say Uncle Sam taught me. My mother started it, and Uncle Sam finished it. Let's put it that way.
That's good. When do you get started with this? Now, today's Wednesday. I mean, this is when we're doing it Wednesday night. But when do you really get started?
On Monday morning, we have to get all the dishes and the roasters and all the equipment that we have stored away for the whole year, the pots and pans that are all stored out in the storage. Well, that has to be all hauled in, and things get set up, the things for the lumberjack. That's the day. That's Monday. Mm-hmm. And then Tuesday, the gentlemen all come in and peel potatoes and cut rutabaga and cabbage. And Tuesday morning, we cook the meat. We're here at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Tuesday, and this morning I was here at 6 again to get the potatoes ready so they could be boiled.
Now, I think the interesting thing here for people to know is that nothing is pre-cooked. I mean, nothing comes out of a box, right?
No. The seasoning comes out of the box. No, the potatoes are fresh potatoes. The rutabagas are fresh. The cabbage is fresh. We buy it all up at Connolly Foods. It's all fresh.
Does this remind you of your old military days of having to peel all those things?
Well, yes. In a way it does. I was listening to it. I set my clock radio for 5 o'clock in the morning so I can get here by 6. And the first morning it went off, it reminded me of being in the service because they played a Sousa March on the radio. The first
Wasn't
thing in the
that
morning.
nice?
Yeah, that was real nice of them. But that woke me up Tuesday morning, and today I got woke up the same way.
Well, that's great. I remember, I think the accompaniment I used to face was garbage can covers coming together.
Yeah.
That also worked pretty well, but I like the Sousa March better.
Yeah, really. That's woke me 2 days in a row, and I think that's about enough for the getting up that early. I usually get up by 6 anyway, but that extra hour, I think that extra hour really you get to sleep.
Well, I can imagine. Well, how many, and you say you've been doing this for 12 years?
This is my 12th.
12 years. That's a long time to be doing that.
And I'm starting to break in some of the younger fellows that are just finally retiring in their 60s and
younger than you are even.
Oh yeah. We're getting these guys that are 60, 65 to start cooking and doing their thing. So maybe one of these days I can run around the dining room and play waiter.
Well, our next guest, we're going through the lineup here of the former ministers. I don't know of anybody before that, but this is Joe Mitchell. And Joe is our current minister, and he always comes to church every Sunday, just about like this, in his lumberjack outfit. What is your job here, Joe? I know you're the minister, and that involves at least Sunday mornings. But what else?
Not much.
What else do you have to do with this event?
Well, I'm really involved in kind of backstopping a whole number of other people to fill in here and there when others are a bit ragged and frayed and been pushed a bit hard. That I try to be here, help with the potato peeling and rutabaga peeling, and help with setting the meat on and getting that ready and on the pots on Tuesday morning, and then taking it off and cutting up potatoes on Wednesday morning, and wherever they need somebody with a dull mind and a strong back, that's my job description here.
That's great. I understand now. Now you've been here 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah.
Okay, and have you learned a whole lot in the mean? I mean, when you first started, was it pretty tough on you, and then you're starting to get it down pretty good now?
Well, this is something that the people that have been doing this for now 75 plus years, they're a real good group of guys, and they really have a sense of trying to bring people along to nurture them along and help them learn the roles and how to do things, because there's a whole lot of experience after this many years in putting this all together that I just kind of watch and listen and keep my mind open, my ears open, and say yes, sir, and roll with it.
That's one of the great opportunities that people to kind of have to tell you once a week or once a year, actually, how to do things.
Well, there's a whole lot of tradition in this, and there's real power. Very seriously, there's real power in the story of the men over the years putting this together, having a lot of good fellowship with it. And so there's a lot to be learned in the real soul of the guys of the church and the community that come together to do this dinner that's really a community dinner. I like to think of it as this is the dinner that helps us get through the rest of winter here in Sturgeon Bay. That when the winters get real long, this is the dinner. Yeah, it'll get you through the rest of winter with all the corned beef and the pork and the rutabagas and potatoes and all that. Yeah.
Well, I think one thing that's kind of neat is, I've worked at this for a number of years too, but I think the kind of neat thing is you find different people from all walks of life that are here. I mean, you find people from different denominations, you find them from different places, you find them from anything from, the clerk to the attorney to the housekeeper to the person who works in a restaurant and wants to come and see how we do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yesterday, the other day, chopping up rutabagas, having a retired doctor making quips about having 10 fingers while he's chopping up rutabagas. It's pretty good. It's a good fellowship. We have a lot of fun, and no injuries yesterday or today so far. We're doing real good putting this dinner together this year.
Yes, I heard that new potato masher is really something.
That is one of the real joys of this. Good grief, how often do guys get to use power tools in making a meal for 800?
It's kind of like Tim the Toolman Taylor here.
Hi, I'm Pat Judy. I'm a member of the United Methodist Men's Club, and I'm in charge of all the advertising and promotion, and I help with the tickets when people come in for the Lumberjack Supper every year.
Well, I heard you the other day on the radio, and sounded great.
Well, thank you.
Now, you're in a band here, too, right?
I play with a lot of different bands. I'm the original drummer for Big Mouth. I still play with the small groups, the 3 and the 4-piece, and I have 2 or 3 other bands, and I play with a group in Appleton called Swing Time Big Band, so I stay pretty busy.
Well, I've seen you around a lot, and it seems like I see a band and I see a drummer, and I look, oh, there's Pat again. So you're doing pretty good.
Well, Laddie's got a lot of me on video from all the different bands. My next door neighbor tells me he doesn't even hardly turn on the Sevastopol channel anymore because every time he turns it on, he sees his next door neighbor. He says, I can walk out my door and see you. I don't have to see you on TV. But it's really nice that Laddie does this, and he used to be commended for it. And we appreciate him being here again this year.
I think the kind of neat thing about Laddie, and I'm going to give him a compliment here. I know he doesn't really deserve it, but sometimes I get so tired of so much other material that's on cable, and I will turn to about I'll turn to, of course, 986.
986,
yes. And I also watch about 970 through about 2,000 or through 1,000.
Now we should remind people that that's charter. It's on the charter cable.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So if you don't have charter cable, you won't be able to see Laddie. Unfortunately, you won't.
And you probably won't be seeing this if you don't have charter.
Unless of course you're one of the 800 or so people that come here to eat. Then you'll be seeing it in person and partaking. You've been doing this a long time too, haven't you, Bob?
Yeah, I have. I think the first year they let me actually serve food, and then they said no, we're not going to let him do that again. So after that, pretty much, what I ended up doing was just taking the tickets and calling the numbers.
Well, I'll tell you, that's an important thing because the people sit in the sanctuary waiting to hear those numbers. When they come in, they give us their tickets at the table, and we give them a number. And then they wait to hear their number called by you through the PA system in the sanctuary, and that's how they know when to come in.
Hopefully they hear me. In a lot of cases they go, I can't hear the numbers.
Oh, believe me, since we've got the new PA system and when we redid the sanctuary, they hear you very well.
It has made a difference.
That radio voice is, a couple of radio voice guys, we get our point across.
Well, we're certainly made, or at least I know I'm made for radio and certainly not television.
Well,
so.
I don't know. You looked a little taller on the radio.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, people always figure maybe I'm a little bigger than I really am.
And I really mean this. Thank you, Laddie Chapman, and everybody enjoy.
You bet. And we can hear that the potatoes are still getting mixed in the bunch there. Are you with Boy Scouts?
I'm not in Boy Scouts anymore. I used to be. I'm just here because I'm in confirmation.
Okay, and give us your name, please.
I'm Brad Stokel.
Okay, and your name? You obviously are in the Boy Scouts.
Bailey Callan.
Very good. And what do you guys do? And first of all, we need to know what pack you're with.
1022.
Okay. And what do you guys do here? Do you work with the food, or are you mostly delivery, or?
Delivery, we're waiters.
What's your favorite part of being here?
That we get to eat at the end.
That's my favorite part too. I always like that part of it. Well, that's great. And do you guys both go to school here in Sturgeon Bay?
I go to Sevastopol School.
And you?
I go to Southern Door.
Southern Door. Okay. Well, that's great. You guys have come from a long way then, north and south, to come here and help us with this event. What's your favorite meal here that you like? You said that you liked eating at the end.
I'd say the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those are very good. Jerry Krause is not a minister. He's one of the few that has not been a minister here at the United Methodist Church. But Jerry, I understand you have been a minister at a number of churches.
Oh, I did 40 years like that. The last area was in the Beloit and Rockford area, where we were for 20 years. So, yes, I have that kind of experience. But this is the biggest dinner that I've ever seen put on by any of the churches. So it's a big event for this group.
Well, that's great. What's your job here?
Well, I peeled rutabagas the other day, and now I'm here to wait on table.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for your assistance. And have you seen this event grow over the years?
It's a great event, and it keeps on growing, and ticket sales are very important. Robert Fink, sitting over there, is the head of the ticket sales. You might want to talk to him.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. Okay. Jerry, thank you so very much. Robert Fink is our next guest here. Robert, I understand you have the all-important job of selling the tickets.
Well, I do, but I get a lot of assistance from a lot of experienced people. Goes back decades. But I do number, all 800 of them, and it's a fun job. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. Are a lot of them sold at the door, or how do you distribute them?
Well, most of them are sold ahead of time, because that's a big deal. You get them for $13. That's a lucky price instead of 14 at the door.
The lucky 13.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And some are sold at the door, and we have some real pros who have handled that for many, many years. Yeah. But my more important job is to head up the enterprise to the left. I don't know if he...
yeah. I don't know if we can get over there. Maybe we can, and he can see what it says.
Actually, I picked up a few years ago handling the so-called plate scraping. And it just ground on me to be called a plate scraper. So I thought we can do better than this. So we organized, and our operation is Post-Event Sanitation Reclamation Enterprises.
Does it shorten up to anything, or is it just the RSRE? No, well, you're going to have to. Anyway.
For the short ones, though, we have many degrees. The three of us, we have multiple degrees, and we just chose to list a few. And each of us has a PhD. We know what that stands for.
What would that be for?
Well, that's for the conventional doctorate degree.
I see. Okay, yeah. I thought maybe it had a special engineering degree with that.
Someone had desecrated it by saying it was like piled high and deep.
I see. That seemed a little more appropriate maybe, but I didn't know.
But TPC is another title, and that's Top Plate Connoisseur.
I see.
And ATPC, Assistant Top Plate Connoisseur. And I'm the last there, and my last title is TPSH.
And that would, I don't.
The plate stops here.
Oh, sounds like someplace Harry Truman might enjoy. But, this is Joe Jarash, and he's the founder of the Polar Bear Swim. And boy, you've that thing is famous now. I just thought it was probably you, but.
No, it was my son, JR. And tonight we switched to a different venue, from outdoors on the beach to indoors, serving hundreds of folks this wonderful lumberjack dinner.
That's great. Have you ever done the polar bear plunge? Have you done that?
Oh yeah, this was my 19th year doing.
Oh, has he ever done it? That's a good question.
I've been in the water a few times.
I guess so. Gosh, and your other son John, he does a lot of things for the.
John is with the Door County Visitor Bureau. He's the public relations director, and right now he's enjoying his second week of fatherhood. They just had their first child a couple of weeks ago, a little baby girl named Madeline.
That's wonderful. And I watch him on TV a lot, and he clicks his fingers, and then he just disappears, which I don't think I can do that. But
I've tried it myself. All I've got is a sore finger.
Yeah, I know how that is. But gosh, well, it's so nice to have you. What do you do here? I mean, what's your job?
What I am, my responsibilities here, I'm a table captain, which means I'm in charge of about 4 or 5 gentlemen and some scouts, making sure we get the food to the 2 tables that we're in charge of, and when folks need seconds, to make sure that we get them so that we send these folks away full, fat, and satisfied.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen anybody leave here hungry.
No,
so
I haven't either. And it's such a great meal, and there's such a nice camaraderie. I was asked to be a volunteer a few years ago. I'm not part of the Methodist Church, so I always jokingly say for one day I have to learn how to act Methodist, because normally I'm Catholic. But I just love the camaraderie here. I love meeting with the people, and I was just renewing some old acquaintances. This is something that I truly enjoy and look forward to helping out every year.
So we could kind of call it our ecumenical dinner.
Yeah, very good way to put it. Very good way to put it.
Dennis Connolly taking over from previous interviewers at this wonderful lumberjack dinner. We're at the United Methodist Church here in Sturgeon Bay off of Michigan Avenue. Wonderful facility, great enthusiastic crew, and we're with Bob Gray. Bob, how's it going tonight?
Well, we're just about ready to get started at this, and what we do is we use this microphone here, and we just call numbers when we're
Which end do you talk into on that
this
one?
end here, I think,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, Bob, tell me, unless this has already been discussed, the history of this event. How long has it been going on, and what prompted its beginning?
We kind of did cover some of that, but I'll see how good my memory is. I believe it was about 76 years ago, and
my goodness.
So it's been a long time. It started, as they said, the Cheeseman Lunch, which there was a Mr. Cheeseman who started this whole event as a lunch event. It was in about 1935, and it went from there. It grew from being at a smaller church, the Methodist Church, to where we are today, which is a much bigger event.
So was the concept being in 1935 to help implement or complement the diets of the local people, or was it merely a nice convivial community sort of gathering situation? Was it to reward particular people, to help them eat, or merely a fun event?
I think it was mostly a fun event. That was really what they were trying to do with it. It was a time when the ship people who were on the ships, had nothing much to do in the wintertime. Everything would be pretty much frozen up in January. So it gave them an opportunity all to get together.
There we left this over. Sometimes people don't make it.
You know, the real lumberjacks ate a lot of beans and pork side, I think, mostly, and whatever they killed with their felled trees. How did it evolve into such an elaborate menu?
Well, I think it just kind of grew, I guess. We still are doing a lot with the beans, and we have lots of potatoes and gravy and rutabaga and all those kinds of things. The pork is still big.
The state of Wisconsin is known as a cheese state, but is it true that Sturgeon Bay is known as the rutabaga capital of the cheese state?
It may be. It could be one of the counties.
Well, at least tonight. At least
Rutabaga
tonight.
County.
Yes, good.
Number 1 through number 30. Please report to the dining area. Thank you.
So, Bob, do you ever call bingo too?
No.
And we're here at the pie window with 2 of the Scouts, the Boy Scouts. Are you part of the troop sponsored by United Methodist?
Yes.
Yes is a good answer. Your first name?
Bailey Camp.
Bailey, and yours?
Nate.
Nate. And so what is your function here at the Lumberjack dinner?
Basically, we have to serve, then we get the leftovers.
Leftovers are always good at my house. At yours as well?
Yes.
Excellent. Certainly here.
Yep.
Do you guys have your eye on any particular kind of pie?
Pumpkin.
Ma'am, how have you enjoyed tonight's dinner?
Oh, I've enjoyed it every year for about.
And how frequently have you come, and what kind of history do you have with it?
Well, I've been coming since we moved back here in 1978.
My goodness, when the original Lumberjacks were waiting outside, and has the food been progressively wonderful?
Oh, absolutely.
And, looks like you're a good member of the Clean Plate Club, as my mother used to call it.
And we brought our appetite.
Wonderful. I'm glad you did. Good evening, and as part of our continued saga covering this wonderful event, we have 2 Packer fans over here. And do you think if the Packers would have had a great meal like this, things would have turned out a little bit differently?
Yeah, they could have showed up for the game.
If they showed up for the game with their bellies too full of good food, that may have even slowed them down further.
Right.
Yeah. Is this your very first Lumberjack dinner?
Yes.
Yes. And what do you think of it so far?
It's amazing.
What is amazing about it? I see you're cleaning your plate well. There are some beans left, a little rutabaga. Is this your first time initiated in rutabaga?
No.
No. Well, that's good. You're a very versatile eater. So what is your first name?
Emma.
Emma. Emma is a very good name. And what is your job here tonight, Emma?
Helping my mom.
Your mom needs a lot of help, and I'm glad you're helping her. What exactly are you doing to help her? Whatever she asks?
Yeah.
Excellent. And so have you ever worked at a big party like this before?
No.
No, it's really good that you're here, Emma, and I hope you're enjoying the company of all these really nice people.
I enjoy it a lot.
That's it. And here we are with one of the other helpers at this fine dinner. Your name, sir?
Steve.
No. Steve, and I see you're well uniformed tonight, and I understand there's some real significance to your uniform and your involvement with the Scouts.
Yes.
Yes, and that might be?
Well, I was the past Scoutmaster, and I've been to the National Jamboree.
And where was that?
Transportation in Virginia.
Excellent, excellent. I have fond memories of the Scouts, and I really thank you for doing all you have done.
You're welcome.
So what is your function tonight besides helping the current Scoutmaster?
Well, tonight I'm handling the corned beef and the pork.
All right, so how are you handling it, Steve?
Well, I'm picking up, getting the setup, setting the tables up, and when they need a refill, I refill it or return it, and I return it.
And it looks like all the would-be lumberjacks are enjoying the full medley of fine foods.
This is my 7th year of doing this now, and yeah, I've seen a lot of familiar faces through the years.
Excellent, and they're happy to see yours, so thanks lots. Barb, how many lumberjack dinners have you come to?
Oh, at least 6.
6, and do you look forward to them every year as the winter hits?
Definitely.
Besides snowmen and winter carnival and Christmas, then there's a lumberjack dinner.
All right. It falls right in there.
How often have you come to the lumberjack? Is this your first or?
A lot.
A lot.
Whole life?
Her whole life, which is about 10 years?
Yeah.
Am I a good guesser or what?
Yeah.
Whole life? You want to do that guess too?
On 34, what a young grandmother. And at this 75th, I believe, lumberjack dinner, the hall is full. People's bellies are full. They're full of good cheer for each other. They're enjoying this cold Sturgeon Bay night in the warm reception of the United Methodist Church 2012. Wonderful food was presented, great value, and wonderful camaraderie. Let's see you next year at the Lumberjack Dinner at the United Methodist.
Corned beef, cabbage, roast pork, rutabagas, mashed potatoes, baked beans, and gravy will come out of the window. Applesauce, bread, butter is on the table. Oh, and there's pie.